Hey guys, how you doing? So let me adjust something here. So as always, my especially my Mr. Electronic Flipchart, I did an update in Windows 10. So if something is wonky, just let me know. But I think we're okay. And I see Miss Tracy is on the line. Russ from the Russ and Tracy show. That show will be resurrected whenever the time is perfect. But there she is, right there. See, there she is. See. So. Most of you tuning in already know me. If this happens to be your first time, depending on where you're viewing this from, I'm just going to do some really quick housekeeping stuff. Two websites, russleto.com. That's me, right? Ask the Wizard coaching. Got a minute video. I'm going to start something else that's new. I think I'm going to call it like Insta Tip on Instagram or something like that. Let's see what else. Reiki certification, all that cool stuff. So that website. This website, of course, I'm on Facebook, Russ Leto. I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff for now, just because it'll be simpler. And the archives of really all our shows, and I do a variety of different media, internet radio and short video clips, longer video clips, things like this. So if you go to the websites, you'll be able to find it. Just do a search for me. I've been around for a while, so do a search for me. You'll find me somewhere. This, the inspiration for this workshop actually happened last night. And I got a message from one of our kids. You're all our kids. And, hey, shout out to our masters. I was going to say master students. I guess we're all students. So our masters, Reiki masters from this past weekend in Edmonton. How you all doing? Fantastic event. You guys, I was as energized after the event as I was in the beginning, probably even more. You were just lots and lots of fun, and it felt really good. Keyword, good, felt good. Okay, so anyway, and her question, her wondering, is such a common one, and so my control panel's over here. That's why I glance over here every once in a while for comments and things like this. So when you post a comment, I'll see it come up. Now, depending on where you're viewing this from, I might not see it right away. So if I don't see it immediately, I always check afterwards. And it's a real common one. And it's one that I've spent some time studying and practicing in a deeper way just this last, I don't know, few months or so. And when I thought about it, it's one where I screwed it up really, really good. And there's one really neat story about that I'll share here in a second. And it happened in January of 2009 of how I used a wonderful process in the worst way. All right. So the question was something like this. When am I going to see my breakthrough? And I'm seeing, no, I'm using this as a jumping off point. I'm seeing contrast everywhere. What I mean by that, I'm noticing that these things that I'm desiring to manifest aren't here. And it's driving me. Now I'm bouncing off here, but this is a similar observation, frustration, complaint that I think we've all had at times. I'm busting my butt doing all the things I'm supposed to do, and why is it not showing up? And what's the deal? And for me, that's the theme of this broadcast, because it's such a valuable thing. It's such a common, and it's a really easy thing to trip ourselves up on. That's the thing. And I'm hopefully this doesn't sound like I'm sort of going, this is what you're doing wrong, because I'm talking to myself too. And this is not just my experience, but it's also a coalescing of so many different teachings and little snippets out of different teachings. Some that I can remember listening to or reading, like 9-10 years ago, probably even before that. And they sort of are just piecing together for a really big aha for me. And it really has changed things in so many ways. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Okay. So I'm going to get many of you folks that have been watching, especially the live broadcasts. Here is Mr. Flipchart. Say hello to everybody. That's Mr. Flipchart, okay? So, and what's really neat is, as you know, with myself, we have a learning system called geometrics, which is a whole series of maps and charts that I received, is the most accurate way to articulate that allows us to take some of these concepts that are maybe somewhat esoteric and kind of etherical and really understand them in a real practical and applicable fashion. And that's the thing for me, is this stuff is all cool, but if you're not able to apply it in your experience to see results, then who really cares? I mean, in many respects, right? And so what was interesting was I had in my mind a little map, one of our existing ones I was going to tweak a little bit to use for our purposes here. And then I think it was either late last, no, it was first thing this morning, Source gave me a whole different map. So, so it's cool. So this is going to look like math class, but it's okay. If you don't like math, it's all right. Okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. This looks like math class. And I'm going to use some labels because I want to keep things really simple, because there's power in simplicity. All right. Now I'm going to use these labels. So here's the situation. Okay. Here's the problem, if you will, that we're trying to fix. All right. And the problem is this: I feel bad and I want to go to I feel good. And Tracy, as always, if you wish and if it fits, if there's any kind of study notes or points that you notice and you want to drop them down in the comments, of course, that's greatly appreciated. Now, I'm going to use the words bad and good, okay? Or we could say happy and not happy, right? Now, I'm using these as labels. And I think what's important to remember is this is just a label. There is no moral weighting to this. So bad doesn't mean bad, right? And good doesn't mean good. So one's not evil, one's not, it's not dark light, all that kind of stuff, right? It's just one feels really uncomfortable, right? I don't like the way bad feels, okay? I like the way good feels, right? So what we're saying is, when we say I feel bad, or we say I feel unhappy, let's say we use that word, what we're really saying is I physically feel sensations that I don't like. They're not comfortable. They aren't pleasant. And on my that splash graphic that was up here, it said you can't feel bad enough to feel good, right? I don't like the way I feel right now. That's what we say when I feel bad, right? And we can articulate it in many ways, right? But that's kind of the root. And then when we say I feel good, what that means is I feel. I don't think good. I feel. I physically feel. You like the way it feels, right? And again, we make things really, really complicated. We need to keep this simple, simple, simple. Okay, and I'm going to try and keep just a half an hour. Okay, here we go. So what we say is, I feel bad and I want to feel good. Okay, and what we have, and it's very logical until your logic changes, right? So what we say is, in order to get, or the construct in our mind is, in order to get from I feel bad to I feel good, I have to do something. Right? It just doesn't magically happen. I happen to do something. I have to do something. And so often where we focus our efforts on the doing of or the changing of is what I am going to call, I'm going to write the full word, and I'm probably just going to abbreviate from this point forward. And I'll explain. Our life experience. Okay, so what I mean by that, well, your life experience, right? Your day-to-day life. Right? And so what we're saying is, I feel bad. I feel bad because my life experience is causing me to feel bad. And that's a very logical thing, right? Okay, I feel bad. I don't feel happy, right? Why don't I feel happy? Because shit ain't happening out here, keeping it real, right? I want this stuff to happen. It's not happening. What's the deal, right? And so the very logical conclusion we could come to is, if I want to feel good, then what I need to do is change the source of that which is causing me to feel bad, right? So if this is causing me to feel bad, then if I want to feel good, right, I need to change this. So what we're saying is, I essentially need to go through this, change it, so I can get to this. Okay? Remembering that this is caused by this. So here's what we do. And this is the first flaw, all right? The first flaw, and probably the biggest one, is we have our equation all buggered up, right? We go, or if you want a flow diagrams, right? We go, I need to somehow change this to get through this to get to this. But here's the we're weird creatures. If this is what's causing us to feel bad, the more we try and change this, remember, whatever we focus on gets bigger. So when we're focusing and when we're trying to change this to get through it, to get to this, guess what happens? This starts to cause us to feel worse. You see, the reason that you don't feel good, that you feel bad, and the reason the more you try and feel good by changing this causes you to feel bad. Because the source, the way you've decided it, you've chosen to allow your life experience to determine or to tell you whether you feel good or whether you feel bad. And that's a very logical conclusion to come to until you understand the whole thing, right? You go, I feel bad because of this. If I change this, I want to feel good. The normals do this all the time. You hear this statement. Oh boy, I'm going to try and keep this a half an hour, folks. I will. The normals hear this all the time. They go, if this would just change, then I would feel good. I feel bad because of this. So if I can change this, then I'll feel good. Right? How's that work so far? Right? Yeah. And even if it does, it's usually only partial and temporary. I've lost track of how many times I know in my life and in many others where we go, if something just changes here, then I'm going to go from feeling bad to feeling good. And maybe it does. And so for a short period of time, you go, wow, my life experience is causing me to feel good. But then what happens? It doesn't last, does it? Right? It doesn't last. And the reason that it's so difficult, often sometimes impossible, to change this so you feel this is because we've got the order in the wrong order. See, we've screwed it up really, really well with the best of intentions. Okay? You see, this is why we're weird people. We really do. We say the thing that's causing me to feel bad, right? I need to somehow go through that to feel good. And so what we say is, and we don't do this consciously, but we do it. We go, I need to feel really, really bad before I can feel good. That's essentially what we're doing. If you use this logic, that's what we're saying. I need to amp up my badness so I can feel good. And how's that been working? And how many people do you know? I know it's been the one in the mirror that we just get stuck in this cycle. That very rarely do we end up getting to this one. And if we do, it's just like this. And then it's gone. Okay? So now I'm going to dig into, we're just going to go to the steps of what you need to do different. So let's build a new one. And this is where we're going to work on our math. Okay? Don't worry about it. Okay? Don't worry about it. It's okay. So I am, that's you. Right? I'm going to go not happy. We're just going to do this. I feel bad, whatever. Right? Okay? And we go, I want to say, go to this spot where I am happy. Okay, is this still on the screen? Yeah, I'm just going to go to full screen for a second here so you guys can see this all. And I'm going to remove this here. Okay, so we go, I am here and I want to go here. Okay, and now we're using our manifesting techniques, right? We're using our manifesting techniques now. And we go, okay, so I am happy. And now any of you guys that have watched any of our stuff or been to any of our classes, you'll hear us talk about the physical, non-physical circle. Pi we'll sometimes call it, right? So I'm just going to give you the abbreviated understanding of it here, okay? So we say what I need to do is I need to, and I'll explain what I mean to this, what I mean by this. I need to work in my non-physical and my physical, okay, to change my life experience, right? We talked about that. And then I'll feel happy. So what we're saying is, and I'll explain the pieces to this. This looks like algebra, but it's okay. If you don't like math, that's okay. It's good. So I'm not happy. So what do I need to do? Well, what I need to do is I need to add some work, right? In non-physical and physical. I'll give you examples, which will therefore change my experience, right? Because we've said I need to change my experience so I will equal I am happy. Right? So that's basically what we're saying now. So now we're digging down a bit deeper and we're saying, okay, so I'm going to use my manifesting practices, right? I'm going to use my manifesting practices. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work in the non-physical and physical. I'll explain this, which will change my experience. And then I will be happy. It's the same formula, right? My experience is causing me to be not happy. I'm going to change it so I am happy. Okay. So it's that same flow that we were talking about. All right. So now I'll just give you some short details on what I mean by that. So your I am, we'll call your spirit, your higher self, your soul, whatever that is, that's listening to this, right? So what do I mean by non-physical? So what's some non-physical activities? Well, and these are words I'm sure many of you have heard. So we visualize, right? We could visualize. We could dream, right? When we dream, we think, oh, this would be nice. This would be nice. We form intentions here. I mean, there's all these different words, right? In many respects, we could call meditation here. Now, don't try and read this stuff, but anyway, right? So that non-physical work that we do, right? We work with our thoughts. We do different things like that, right? So what's the physical? Well, the physical can be something as simple as, okay, if it's a health and wellness, see, I'm not happy because my life experience and my health and wellness isn't the way I want it to be. So maybe we could do some physical stuff. So maybe something as simple as we're going to change up our diet a little bit. And I'm just cherry picking things, right? Or maybe it's again, health and wellness one. I'm making stuff up. I'm going to do yoga, or I'm going to walk more. I'm going to go into nature. I'm going to do things like that, right? So we go, okay, I've got this. I know how to do this manifesting stuff, right? So I'm going to use my non-physical, my visualizing, my forming, my intentions, all that kind of stuff. Oh, I write down affirmations, right? I write down affirmations in the physical. So I'm going to use both of those so that it will change this, so that I will feel, or I can say, I am happy. Okay? So that's the logical process that so many of us use when we're in using manifesting techniques or understandings. I am not happy, so I'm going to use skills here, which will change my experience, and then I will be happy. Okay? That's the process that we use with the best of intentions. So for me, I'll give you an example. It was a story I was going to share here, and I will be done here in half an hour. So this was back in January of, 2010, I guess it would be. And so Mary Jo and I, about November, we were using our manifesting techniques because we wanted to change this. Okay? We wanted to change this, or we wanted to feel this. Okay? And so it was coming up right up to December, and we decided we were going to form an intention. Oh, geez, I'm going to better do this. So we were going to form an intention. We could form that here, right? And then we're going to use these principles to change our experience, and then we'll be happy. All right? So we did that. And it was an amazing Christmas and end of the year. And one of our desires was an increase in finances. So that showed up in our experience. Use the techniques, man. Everything was just fantastic. Everything worked. It was great. So then I thought, oh, this is excellent. So now I'm going to use this and I'm going to really ramp things up. So back then we hadn't really traveled a lot. Not a lot. And we'd never been to Mexico and things like that. So what I did was I built this little slideshow. and it had random pictures of places in Mexico, and I think it had some affirmation statements. See, so I got this up. I was using this, right? And I was building this, and I would sit and I would focus on this, right? And I would do all the right things in an effort to change this. Okay, this is the key. I'm going to change the colors here. We'll do this. I was working here, and my outcome that I was looking for was this to change so that I could feel happy, right? 1, 2, 3, right? I'm working, doing my non-physical, physical work so that step 2, my experience will change, and then I will be happy. Conventional manifesting strategies. Didn't work worth a crap. I'd sit there and I'd watch the thing and I'd watch my visual doing this so that my experience would change. Didn't do it. Didn't do a damn thing. I could actually stop stuff, right? And why was that? And I'd love to say that I haven't done things like that since then, but that wouldn't be true. Even now, I'll slip into this. I'm doing my manifesting techniques, and the outcome of that is my experience changes, right? And that's where the error is. I'll step into this in a second, right? And that's why it's not working. See, the reason it's not working is because lots of good reasons, right? Is because you think the outcome of this is your experience changes. Now just stick with me here, right? This is the issue. We think the process is step 1, I do my manifesting work, which step 2 changes my experience. Step 3, then I am happy. This is why it's not working. And the more you try and do that, the more this ends up happening. You end up actually causing yourself to feel worse because you think I got to go through, change the experiences before I can feel good. Using our chart here, you think I need to go through and change this experience before I feel good. But what happens is you end up getting stuck in this cycle. I tell you, this is huge, in this cycle, this way, right? Because you go, I'm doing all the work, nothing's changed, which makes me feel even more unhappy. Yes. Right? Which means I work even harder, and then I go, my experience still hasn't changed, which makes me feel even more unhappy, and it goes round and round and round, right? Whoops. Whoops, where's my thing? Here we are. See, and that's the issue. Okay, so how do we change this? Okay, let's get to that part. Think of this equation, because I'm gonna draw a new little slide here, all right? And I'm using the same components, but I'm changing the order. So I am not happy. I feel bad, right? And I'm still going to use my non-physical, right? Visualize it. Here, I'll go full screen. Visualization, all that kind of stuff, right? And I'm going to use physical things, right? Maybe some physical changes I can make, right? So that still stays the same, right? But here's the difference. What we're saying is I'm going to add this, right? And the outcome that I am looking for, the only reason that I am doing the non-physical and the physical work, the only reason is so or if you want to call it happy. This is the key. I tell you, and trust me, there's going to be some resistance to this within you because we're so conditioned to be in that loop. Life experience caused me to be not happy. So in order to be happy, I have to change my life experience. And believe me, it's propagated all over the place. It's a damn conspiracy if you think about it, right? I mean, all you have to turn on the TV and turn any commercial, right? The reason you're not happy is because you don't have the right car. The reason you're not happy is you don't have the right freaking toothpaste. The reason you're not happy is you don't have the right toilet paper. But if you do, then you'll feel happy, right? I mean, we see this all over the place. And there's a hell of a lot of really unhappy people in the world today that have the best of intentions trying really, really hard to change the thing that they were never designed to directly change. Your non-physical and your physical activities have one and only one purpose, that in this moment you feel, and I'm not saying you have to go from I feel like crap to the wind beneath my wings, but some sense of good sensations, or some sense of feeling better, some sense of feeling even a little bit happy or a little less worse, right? The whole purpose of your non-physical and physical activities is not to change your experience. It's to change your vibration. Okay, that's a good one. I'm sure Tracy. Yeah, there we go. The purpose of manifestation, the techniques that you use, are not designed to change your external experience. They're designed to change the vibration of your body. Remember I said feel good, feel bad. Feeling bad is vibrations that you don't like. Feeling good is vibrations that you do. The whole purpose of the non-physical and physical activities is not to change your experience. And whenever you go, I'm doing this work, is it changed yet? You're screwing it up. Because you're driving north, trying to find a destination that's to your south. And it just confirms that, I don't know, I'm not good enough. None of this stuff works. I cursed. I don't know, whatever. Pick your labels kind of thing. Well, you're not. You're just doing the right things, but you're looking in the exact wrong place to measure your effectiveness. You're measuring your effectiveness about how is things working out. They're not working out. I must be doing something wrong. What you should be doing is you should be saying, my whole desire is I want to feel good. Tracy, I think, posted that right at the beginning. I want to feel happy. I want to feel less worse. Right? I mean, it's, here, let me just pull this up really quick. We did this actually in the master's class. So I'm going to go just like this. I'm going to do this really quick, right? So this is good. And I'm using just labels. This is happy. Pick your words, right? And this is bad, right? So it's not so much a switch, right? It's kind of a moving. You move back and forth down this scale, right? And so if you're, and I mentioned this to the person that messaged me last night, because right at that point in time, probably in this scale, she was about here. Right? Now, to get from here to here in a moment probably isn't going to happen. So don't try, but you can maybe get from here to here, right? You can maybe get from, now I'm making up stuff. You can get from, oh, my life is over to, well, maybe not, right? Just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. That's it. You don't have to change everything. Just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, right? The whole purpose is I want to feel good. That's why in some of our creating spectacular relationships through energy mechanics, we talk about the value of sensual or five senses pleasure, right? And I can remember this. I am wrapping this up. Oh, I'm 11:30. Yeah, I'm wrapping this up. So, but I've got one other really good piece to this. Okay, so I remember. Let me think. Who did I hear it from first? Well, I remember way back when the documentary The Secret was out, and I remember Neil Donald Walsh. He says, you know, if it feels good to go for a walk in the park, then go for a walk in the park. And he says, if it feels good to have a salami sandwich, then have a salami sandwich. I remember Wayne Dyer. This would have been who knows how long ago. He tells the story. Whether it's factual or not doesn't really matter. But he tells a story on his answering machine. He says, my message is, hello, this is Wayne Dyer that you've reached, and I want to feel good. Or I want to feel happy. And if your message is going to do anything other than that, you've reached the wrong number. We kind of joke about stuff like that. But that's the common theme. The theme with the people that you go, wow, and some don't even realize they're doing it. Wow, look at how their life seems to be just blessed and everything works for them. It's because they're selfish enough to care about how they feel. Their prime focus is, I want to feel good. And we go, oh, geez, well, that's just lazy or that's entitled, because you got to feel bad before you can feel good. We could take a note from their textbook, because they're so damn selfish and self-entitled. They think, I just want to feel good, and I'm going to do stuff that causes me to feel good. They got the right idea. We're sitting here going, yeah, I'd like to do that too, but I got to feel really, really shitty first. Then I'll feel good. Yeah? Okay, I'm wrapping up. Here's the good news. As you do this, as you focus on non-physical work, physical work for the prime purpose of, I want to feel good, one of the byproducts of that is your life experience changes. Right? It's just that simple. You see, we've got the order all backwards. Right? Remember this? Here's the formula, right? Remember this formula says, in order for me to feel happy, to feel good, I have to change this. Right? But you see, it's all backwards. In order to experience this, you have to feel this. So that's the thing. Your only desire should be, what can I do in this moment to feel some semblance of good? And if you feel that, and as you feel that, and when you go, nothing's changed here, you do, don't do that. Right? Don't do that. I want to feel good. And you're going to go, well, I've been doing this for a while, and my life experience still hasn't changed. So what? Who cares? Because the only reason you want your life experience to change is because you want to feel good, right? I mean, think about it, right? Our equation, I want to feel good, so I got to change my life experience so I feel good. How about we just skip to the feeling good part? See, and this will rack your brain because it's so counterintuitive to everything that we've taught, but it's the truth. And I've seen this mirrored over and over and over again in the people that study, the people I have observed and learned from. As you feel good, your life experience will then start to change to match. You need to do whatever you can to feel good, and then your experience will match that, rather than you saying, I need to change my life experience, and then I will feel good. Your number one mantra, and I am going to wrap it up. Your number one mantra every single day is, what can I do? Non-physically, thinking, visualization, daydreaming, whatever it is. Right? See, here's what we do. We visualize so that our life experience will change. No. Visualize so that you feel good. See, we go, if I go and I'm going to do all these things to make my life experience change. No. Do whatever you do because it makes you feel good. See, this is the difference. This is the difference. I was trying to visualize so that my life experience would change. No. Visualize for the prime purpose of creating some type of good feelings in you. I don't care what you visualize. I don't care what. One of my favorite things to do is visualize or remember teaching in Anaheim when I'm there and riding the Amtrak down the Pacific Ocean. Not in the ocean, beside it. Because when I think of that, I feel good. See? And that's the only reason. The only reason I do that is so I feel good. If you're doing your positive affirmations, don't go, I'm doing my positive affirmations so my experience will change. No. Do your positive affirmations so that it will cause you to feel good. That's your focus. Your efforts are not so to change your experience. Your efforts are focused on, I want to feel good. Stop. And people go, well, I'm changing my thoughts. So I can, because I want to change this experience. So I'm changing my thoughts. No, stop. I'm changing my thoughts so I feel good, right? You're pointing in a different direction. I'm changing my thoughts, working with my thoughts so that I feel good, not so my experience will change. That's the key. Whatever you do today, it's not so that my experience will change. It's I want to feel good. And then the rest will start to fall in. Table one, you have access to people I don't. We're all in this together. It's so valuable to share the message and get the word out. Thanks for joining me. If you've been watching this live, or if you've been watching this when it's wherever it's been archived, we appreciate it so much. You all know me, Russ Legault, Ask the Wizard, coaching and mentoring. We will see you on the web.